two projects going simultaneously here because they're both coming out of this one piece of wood. But I watch some carvers, and for the type of carving that I do, it's usually like relief cuts, like so. So I don't know that this. I got me one of these doodads and lined it with the rubber and all that kind of stuff, but it just, you know, it's clumsy. It's not terribly quick. So I came up with the neatest little design, and you know, I doubt seriously I came close to inventing anything here. I know this is nothing more than a bench hook, but what I had bought a couple of these at Harbor Freight just to see if there was any use I could figure out for them. Well, I started by putting one on here, but you take it and you don't really want to mar the surface of this, so I usually use a block on top. Put that down there. It doesn't move, and you can work on, you're not going to be working on but one little area, and you can take it quickly, move it like that, right back down, you're back in business again. You can easily follow the grain. But then I began to realize, you know, sometimes I need to get to this side without being in the middle here, you know. So I put another one over here. Well, now I wanted it a little wider because I started working on this piece here. Okay, well, yeah, that can work, but I just want it to be a little bit wider. And this wood that I get comes 12 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is make a new one, and it'll be that much wider right there, and then put one of these on each side. But anyway, so I've already done a little bit of planing on here. That planer is so loud I wasn't going to put you through that, but I've already cleaned this up as much as I want it cleaned up, and we're going to cut the hook part off right up here, and it'll fit on the table like so. Then we'll cut us a cleat. We need two cleats. We need one as a catch up on the top and one as a catch on the bottom. One catches your workbench and the other one catches your work, like that. So let's cut this out and put it together. Okay, I'm going to make this one 14 inches deep. That way I can work a 12-inch piece in there if I need something that wide. Work it really quite easily. Actually, you could go a little bigger, but it would just stick out down here a little bit. Alright. Roughly 12 wide and 14 inches deep. Alright, now let's cut those rails off. We're not doing joinery really of any fine degree or texture. Alright, now for a little sanding. Alright, and hallelujah. Okay, so now we finally have our board prepared. The right size and everything. I've got some pieces. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run sand these right quick. I won't put you through that because you probably know what it looks like to sand something. But we'll sand these pieces. Then we'll screw the kind of hard to know whether I want the knots up or down. Put that piece right there and that piece right there. Then put my clamps on here and we're good to go. Normally I would glue these if I was doing most joinery, but on these you're going to be cutting and what have you, and over time you might need to replace this. You put 3 screws in here, that's not going anywhere. And like I say, if it does, just replace it. So anyway, let me pick out the prettiest one because I'm about to look at it. Alright, that'll work. I'm going to do it just like that. Alright. Let me do some sanding. I won't do much. It's going to be rough anyway. Okay, I finished the sanding. Now we're going to put the bottom rail on. All I'm going to do is just, this is not rocket science. So that's just about too easy. That's just about too easy. If you work on these little pieces of carbon like I do, if you don't already have one of these, I'm sure I didn't make this up, but I never did see one. And on my looking, I saw a lot of clamps and vices, but not really anything quite like this. But I'm sure it's out there. It's too obvious a thing to have. I know I have used this one over here to death, but I sort of outgrew it. But that's what I'm finding about carving. You grow into it. You learn the stuff that you like. There's so many directions you can go in. With my lack of skill, I'll never be able to carve a bear out of a block of wood and you'll be able to know what it is. But the relief carving was fun. I enjoyed doing those names. And I thought, well, what about a figure of some kind? But along the way, and I was needing to hold my work. All right, there's that. There's that going on. Well, as batteries are wont to do, my battery ran out and I don't know where I was, so I will repeat this little part here because this is important if you're going to make one of these. The way I made this first one, I was just quick and dirty. I was just trying to make it quick as I could. So I just took a length of board, and since the board is as wide as itself, I just simply cut off a piece that fit here and a piece that fit here. Well, your grain runs this way. So as you can see, the grain snapped on me in a couple of places. So one when I put this in, and one when that was fitting over that hole right there. So anyway, how I got around that is that this time I turned it off of the plank going this way, and instead of this coming off of this board right under it or right over it, it came off of the side of it down lower. So my grain's running this way now, and as you can see, we put one in, no breakage. I tell you, if you don't have one of these, even if you don't carve, if you don't have one of these to work with, you'll be wondering if you just stop and take you 30 minutes, if that, and out of scrap wood. If you already don't know what it's like, you'll wonder how you did with that, if I put it that way. So all I did was take this idea and then put this on top of it, which I'm sure many people have done. But man, that holds that wood better than you can imagine. I mean, first of all, once you're back up against here, it's just going to have difficulty going this way. All right, so once you clamp it down, it's just not going to move. I've not had any problems with mine. Something you might want to think about. I buy raw lumber from the sawmill, and therefore the wood is a little over an inch when I get it. So if I'm careful, I can wind up with an inch to work with here. If you were to build this and that was 3/4, at times if your wood is thick, you might not be able to put it under there. But this has the capacity to hold a 2x4. That's a 2x6 there. So, but yeah, you might. And if you work on thicker pieces, you might even have to raise that a little bit. You know, make it out of a 2x4 and make it maybe 2 inches thick, or however thick the wood is you're carving on. But I haven't gotten to that point yet. I guess you could have more than one of these. They cost nothing to make, because mine was made out of some cutoffs. This piece of wood I had left over from probably some trim work in the house I was doing. I was at the big box store one day and saw they had a bunch of these. I think they were $7 or $8 for the whole set, about 15 pieces in the set. I have loved them. That rounded hand, oh man. All screwdrivers should be made that way. But one of the bonuses, one of the pieces was a ratchet. And all your little plug-in bits and things that goes in there. And man, when you go to back something out, or anyway, had I known what I was getting, I'd bought a dozen sets, giving them to my friends. I find that when I want a screw to go in straight, best thing to do is to pre-drill. Gosh, I almost feel like I got a Cadillac bench here. Didn't have to make the one chain, everything else just worked like it's supposed to. Okay. Woo, hallelujah. See if I can show you what I've been trying to talk about here. See if the grain says anything to me. Not really. Normally when I sign my name it's like this, but I just put a dot for the I, but this is so big I may wait on the eye treatment. Something come to me. But anyway, you see now, you got your little piece. All you have to do is put that under there, and I undo it until it touches. Alright, once it touches, then bring this bottom up. Once I set it for the piece of wood I'm working on, I'm good to go. I don't have to reset it. Let's see. I can actually move this piece here. I mean, it's just not going anywhere. And then I usually start with a V-tool to outline things, and that way it brings a bevel. You can bevel it from either way you want to go, or both. But if you just want the bevel to be going that way, then you would do your relief cut coming from in here, and then come out there and chip away at that. I may work on that. But anyway, it shows you how this piece works. Now, if I want to, as long as I can get any, you know, there's enough room now to work over here. Probably won't be using that much, but you just never know. There's so many angles. Go, okay, there's one right there. If you wanted to come up through here, clip it right there. It's just good to have both of them. I found that out. That's why I put a second one on there. I started with just one. But anyway, I mean, it's just, I mean, how, boom, turn it that way, boom. I mean, just how quick. So, all right, cheap, quick and dirty work hook for carving, wood carving. As long as your carving piece is anywhere from 1 to however tall you want to make that. Now, if you were wanting to do a thin piece, one thing I need to show you. That's just not going to reach. I can let that go all the way down there. It's not going to touch that. So, get another piece and put under it. Now I could adjust that down. So, you might want a piece about, oh, I guess that's 3/8 of an inch, just to lay on there. That way you can work thinner pieces. And then of course if you're working a 2x4 or 2x6 as this was, however thick a board you're going to be working with, which is your thickest piece, that's how thick this piece here needs to be. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this project. Thanks for watching.